Pardon that slight delay. I forgot that I was not hardwired into the internet, and you'll be surprised how little the Wi-Fi truly works whenever you actually hardwire and check out the metrics. Like, Wi-Fi is about 30% effective. But here we are, live and in full effect. It's a brand new day. New atrocities to draw. Gotta thank you guys in a very big bad way for coming out in droves to do the pre-order. You know, I thought Kayfabe was gonna show up, but man, things are going great. Off to a really good start. Incredible weekend. And I sort of set new personal goals. You know, let's go for 2,000. Let's go for 2,000 pre-orders, man, through the website. Derek Draws, what's going on, homie? It's been a long time. It's been a while. But here we are, live and in full effect. Baby steps, Trevor. You know, like 1,000 was like a nice idea, but let's go for 2,000. Let's go for 2,000. And you know that's only 10% of the way to the 20,000 pre-orders that I want. If you guys haven't done so already, man, hit that link, pre-order this comic. Shit's gonna be fire. Shit's gonna be dope. A hardcore monthly comic that doesn't have anything to compare it to on the racks. Absolutely, Jabba. This is going to be in comic shops and available that way. It's just not in previews right now. And these pre-orders are giving us a good metric on how many of these damn things to print up in the initial batch. Jabba, Ryan, you've been grabbing my books for years and years, man, and you could probably attest, like, my stuff, my initial print runs sell the hell out really quickly. Stores never know how to order my shit. You know, they always under order. The publishers always under print, and the demand is always greater. So hit that link in the description below and pre-order some Red Room comics. If you are across the pond, I'm checking into certain things. The Canadian buyers are saying something about like a $40 price tag on the shipping on the Fanta site, so I'm looking into that. You know, that seems weird to me, but in the meantime, you want to check out the comics, hit the Patreon. That's in the description also. I feel like this is a new evolution for the channel. In certain ways, certainly for me, because now, you know, I'm not beholden to Marvel or you know, this is my own property, so I can get back to the streams, leave them live, and I look forward to the day when, like a network, not like a channel, but when, you know, Jimmy's got a stream and I got a stream rocking at the same time, and we're just grinding hardcore, showing you guys what it's all about, you know, day in, day out. Yesterday was Sunday, but we still were grinding. Got about 8 more pages to go on issue 5. One second. You know, the standard operating procedure from the jump, man. Where you guys clocking in from? Where's your location? I'm here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. A brisk 30 degrees out right now. But you know what that means. Good comic book drawn weather. Chris at Comic Tropes, what's up, homeboy? Good to see you in here, man. It's been a long time. I like seeing the dueling Seattles, right? One after the other, too, by the way. Jabba, describe experimental when it comes to the physical issues. You know, they're going to be comic book issues. If you're talking about storytelling, things like that, yeah, sure, definitely. Got to keep this stuff interesting for oneself. And each story, I'm setting up different little parameters for myself creatively. But you know, no gimmicks. Fantagraphics Country, that's goddamn right. You can't disable the power of my label, baby. We don't want to even think about what a comic book world would be like without Fantagraphics out there publishing work. And one of the great metrics that I'm very happy to report from the numbers that I saw from this past weekend, so many of you who pre-ordered the book through Fantagraphics have never ordered from Fantagraphics before. You know, they have a metric. It's like, you know, new customers that are showing up. And so many of you are new to the game, man, new to ordering straight from them. And I'm almost jealous of you because there is a large catalog of very cool stuff to get your hands on. I always talk about working with these various publishers. There's like some weird like retroactive thing where it's like I'm just getting my money back, man, for all the years of buying different formats of Love and Rockets comics as far as Fantagraphics is concerned. You know, whenever I did that stuff for Marvel, you know, the money that they gave me was just retroactive loot from buying 30 years of Marvel comics growing up. Well, I guess I should say maybe 15 years. Bunker Mike, yo, the gang is all here. Man, it's good to see all you guys. Chris from Comic Tropes, the ink I'm using is some shite. Just Speedball. Standard, typical Speedball ink. You know, pretty garbage. But it does what I need it to. Red Room trading cards. Wow, Chris, thanks for that super chat, man. I'm also, this is a G Pen, the Japanese kind of manga tool of choice. Got highly influenced, man, when I went over to the land of the rising sun. And I've been using a lot of Japanese supplies, Copic fine liners to go along with this. I'm kind of just, as you can see, I'm just putting down kind of the broad strokes, kind of the fattest, boldest lines. Still ain't even that bold, but you get the picture. And then I'll go in with the Copics. Yeah, Sakaido and Shinjuku. Comic Tropes, man. Next time you go to Tokyo, whenever they let us back in, you got to take the photo. You know what the photo is, right? You know what the photo is, right, Chris? Got to go to the screen tone section of Sakaido. And for those of you guys who don't know, this art store in Tokyo, 5 floors. So picture that, right? 5 floors to this joint. What floor is the stuff that we want though, Chris? Uh, I think it's floor 3 or 4 is where all the illustration supplies are. And that's where you get your G pens. That's where you get your reference model books. And that's where you could get all the great deleter screen tones for like $4. And you got to take that photo, man. You got to take the selfie amongst all the screen tones, because it's unbelievable to see. As an American who, you know, like, we just don't use that stuff here. It's very hard to get here. You'll be in awe whenever you see the screen tone section. Hey Derek, what were you doing out in Japan as a kid, man? Are you an army brat? Was your dad in the military or something? I very much look forward to going back as soon as they let us in. Thanks, Fred, for the rec. Horror novels are definitely on the top of my list of things that I would like recommendations of, because I like every year I estimate I'll listen to at least 70, 75 audiobooks, sometimes over 100. You know, To Kill a Mockingbird takes 3 hours to listen to, you know, so you could listen to another one that day. Catcher in the Rye, another 3-hour joint, I think. So if I could find some good horror stuff to kind of keep me company through this, man, that would be awesome. I say it a bunch, but I'm kind of like a method cartoonist, and I like to keep my mind in a certain place while working on this stuff. And getting hold of some cool horror that will keep me happy while putting together these last bunch of issues, man. I'm not even halfway, by the way. This is issue 5. So I'll have 7 more issues to do after this. They're all a pleasure, too. So much fun. Pin, great story. Oh, Evan, we were talking about this before, man. Yeah, this happens with me and Jim sometimes, by the way, Evan, where we have something in mind that we think is right, and we're sort of dead set on it, and then we discover that we both kind of are right. So Evan's talking about one story called Pin, but the Pin that I know is this short story that's like 5 pages long, and it's just about a guy staring in the medicine cabinet mirror and going through this existential crisis while he's debating whether or not to jab a pin into his eyeball. And you could imagine what choice he made. And it's very descriptive, by the way. It'll make the grip in your hands go away. You know, you'll drop whatever's in your mitts. No, I haven't played the Neo Geo Mini. I heard bad things. I heard that the buttons suck. You know, there's not a good D-pad. And you need a lot of response in those games. Like, if they figured that out, you know, if they have a good solution for that, I mean, I'll buy one as soon as I get off of the stream. You know, I have every other mini console. Freaking love playing those things. It's wintertime, so you know that we're indoors here in Pittsburgh. But I did hear that the Neo Geo Mini leaves a lot to be desired. And I also have no problem buying like some extra, like a good controller. I was planning on doing the thing anyhow where I would get the extra controls so in the HDMI cable so that I could play it on the TV rather than the little box. Not interested in that. Consequence of drawing all the time and sticking my nose up against the paper is that I'm freaking half blind. Yeah, that Ricky O comic was awesome, man. I grabbed a issue or two, a Tankobon volume or two whenever I was in Japan, and really dug it. This is a gnarly page right here. Like, it's hard to tell what's going on right this minute. But we got the back of a head of one of the rat queens being pulled over one of the other one's shoulders, digging 2 eyeballs into each eye socket, while this one is jabbing its whole arm down its gullet, like reaching down into the throat, into the chest cavity. I drew this sketch before I saw that episode of Hannibal where this kind of thing happens. The guy wakes up, it has his arm in the mouth, like up to the bicep, into someone's mouth. It just pulls his whole arm out. It's really gross. Very good. Hannibal petered out though. Like I lost so much interest in it by season 3. I haven't finished it. When Hannibal escaped, man, that shit got weak. I am interested in reading those old Hellblazer comics. Thanks for reminding me. Yes, I have Cancor here in the house right now, man. Matt Allison is an awesome cartoonist. Incredibly good at his craft. Eli, what's up, man? You know what? I'm glad you popped up because I want to hook you up with mod privileges here. I think we just accomplished that. Yeah, there you are. Yeah, the dude who runs Meat Canyon just hit me up a couple of days ago, actually. DM'd me on Instagram and was just kind of down with the channel. Expressed that the channel is a fun thing to look forward to or whatever in the midst of all the craziness that we're all dealing with. And I assured him, just like I assured some of you guys who reached out and hit me up and said similar things about 2020 super hard, nice to have the channel to kind of forget about the nonsense for a little bit of time, and like I concur. Like, the difference for me is that it's the making of the channel that is the therapeutic part for me. Hanging out with Jimmy, I keep the bubble real small, so the channel's important. He's one of the very few human beings that I've allowed myself to be around. And it's fun, man, to hang out with the homie and just go read a couple of comics, and talk about comics. Like, the relationship that I have with the channel is different in certain respects from the feedback I've seen, because you guys are kind of bearing witness to just me and Jim hanging out, having a conversation, talking about comics. Like, we sort of forget that, thousands of people are then going to be checking these bits out. And can't speak for him, but I know if I think about it too much, man, that might be a crippling thought. It might make recording, this week extra hard if I put too much thought into it. So I'm definitely thankful that you guys have been showing up. The growth of the channel has been exponential in a big way for the past couple months, honestly, and it just keeps growing, leaps and bounds. It took us a year to get our first 10,000. It took us like 4 months or 6 months to get our second 10,000. Took 4 months to get our third 10,000, and it's looking to be an even speedier process for us to hit 40. And the viewership, forget about it. Like, that's insane. Like, at least, it's always more than 500,000 people come through every month. I don't even know what that's a fictional number to me, like, I don't know what that is, man. 600,000 people. I can't even imagine what it is for you, Chris, over there at Comic Tropes. I thank you guys a whole bunch for the patronage of the channel. Thank you a whole lot for the horror recommendations. And if you haven't done so, please pre-order Hip Hop Family Tree. If you don't have a good, reliable comic shop, pre-order it through Fantagraphics ASAP. It's going to let us know how many of these suckers to print. It's going to sort of prove certain things to us in terms of the viability of the pamphlet format that we all love. And I definitely hope you guys show up in a big way. I had to readjust my goals for what I wanted the pre-orders to be, because you guys showed up in such a big way, and I'm super thankful for that. ...2021, it's going to be a crazy, crazy year for Kayfabe, man. Very busy. Very, very busy. And just you wait, because I absolutely envision time where there's going to be 2 live streams going on at the same time. You guys are going to have to pick your poison. Put up 2 tabs and hang out with us. Because Jimmy is working on some super rad stuff. It's been a while since we chatted. you guys get any cool comic things for Christmas? I got a gang of artist editions, some of which will be episodes in the future. I'm not sure about cons, man. I'm not sure at all. I'm sort of very happy to just kind of hang out and draw. And with this crazy grind, like, it's not going to allow for much time away from the drawing board. I was just talking about those Crumb Restaurant sketchbooks not too long ago. Super good stuff. Yeah, that Tim Vigil Batman comic, man. How much of that kind of stuff exists? You know, that's something that we weren't ever expecting to get our hands on. 20-page Tim Vigil Batman story. But when that came across, once that came across our desk, man, we had to reach out and hit Uncle Tim up, man, to make sure that it was okay. Placeholder. You know what? I have some Rocketeer pulled for a future episode. I'm looking for, my collection is in such disarray. It always has been. Growing up in the 90s, when the speculators became liquidators, I would go to the flea markets, and my pops was super cool, man. He would just like talk those people down and just say shit like, do you really want to take all those comic books back to your house only to bring them back out again next week and have nobody buy your stuff? I'll give you like $8 for these 3 boxes. And he would just come home with boxes and boxes and boxes of comics all the time. And they were in their own kind of order. So I never took the time to put them in order, at that stage. And so now it's all just like, good luck. I say that ramble only because I'm looking for one more Rocketeer comic to complete the first story. Like, I have it. I absolutely do. I love looking at his stuff, and I've read it a million times. So I just have to find that one issue, and when I do, we'll do that episode. But it's a long time coming for sure. The printer that I use is cheap. It's an Epson Workforce 7510, and I got it years ago for like $250, and the blue lines here were printed out on it. No problem, and it's been serving me well for years and years and years. So I bet the latest, they're commodities at this point. It's like a toaster. It's gonna toast your bread no matter which brand you get. And I'm not saying that for scanners at large. I'm saying that for Epson workforces, because I'm sure they're on, at the 8000 series now or something probably. Can't imagine that it's worse than, this old brand. I do scan my art with the Epson as well, for better or worse. I never had a problem, noticed a problem or anything, but maybe I'm ignorant. And it is, yeah. It's one of those. It's one of those all-in-one joints, and it used to be the all-in-ones were like the jack of all trades gimmick, you know, like they kind of aren't great at anything. But I think that's changed. We got a hold of that Eat or Not 1969. Might be a future issue, future episode at some point. You know what else me and Jimmy got our hands on? That we're going to have to, that we're sort of working on in the meantime until it's out there. But we have the Barry Windsor-Smith monster book. We've got it. It's freaking beautiful. And we're just reading it ahead of time so that we could give you guys a good episode. But you are not going to want to miss that. So check it. Pre-order Red Room. And while you're at it, pre-order that Barry Windsor-Smith book, because you're definitely going to want that. It's as beautiful as you can imagine. Nice, Phil. Thanks for pre-ordering the Red Room comics, man. And whoever's going to get those other 6 copies, they're going to appreciate it, especially if they're looking for this kind of stuff in comics again, because I know I am. I don't make any comics with sort of any other audience in mind but myself, and this is the kind of thing that's sort of sorely been lacking. A monthly comic to look forward to that's kind of nuts, extra violent, can't be worried about getting roasted by anonymous strangers online for how weird it is, how violent it is, yada yada. Let's go hardcore these days. Yeah, there's not too much that we could do about the shipping for across the pond. I do have them looking into it, but in the meantime, I would suggest drop $3, hit the Patreon. The link is down in the description as well, and you'll be able to read the first 2 issues right this minute. When this stream is over, you could check out the first 2 issues and see if it's the kind of comic for you. But I do have them looking into the shipping charge for Canada, because we sort of all agreed that whatever that charge was seemed pretty pretty steep. Doesn't sound right. So that's being worked on. And if you take a look in the bottom left, the image of the front cover, you could see that that's even changed a little bit, the logo treatment. Whenever I sort of saw the thumbnail of, and you have to kind of gauge your art kind of like by the thumbnail these days, you know. I wasn't thrilled with the logo, so changed the logo up. It's the beauty of having this kind of extra time ahead of the game. Carl, thanks for that pre-order. You know, one can never be sure, but you know, after conversations I had this past weekend, it's like, man, you guys have fucking showed up in a big giant way for Red Room, and they're supporting a really, really crazy comic. Much appreciated, because I need some more craziness on the racks. You know, I misspoke in a way when we did our announcement video for the thing, where I said, you know, success breeds imitation, and that is true, but what I really meant was it'll just create sort of empirical data for other cartoonists to make their own wild kind of ideas. You know, nobody's really doing this kind of thing right now. I'm taking a chance, and the fact that you guys are showing up is proving that it was the right move to make. You know, like, you guys are curious about this kind of comic, curious about the story, and I'm going to do everything I can to deliver you a satisfying experience. Joe, thanks for that super chat. Yes, that is true. The Ed Piskor Studio editions are, there won't be any more of those, man. So if you have any curiosity about getting your hand on some, you know, a giant big book full of my art, you know, scanned from the originals, get it sooner than later. I don't even think Fantagraphics has them right now. You would have to go on Amazon or some other place. I'm not sure that Diamond even has them available. Always super fun around Christmas time to check the Instagram feeds and stuff, to see everybody, to see sort of what everybody got, and it was astounding to see so many people get the studio edition books. Whoever got those for you, they're keepers. Don't you ever do them wrong. Phil W, that would be super cool, man, to see like a 3D sculpt of Poker Face. That's clearly the sort of standout character at the moment from people who have been following my Instagram and my social media stuff. There are no less than 2 people who have Poker Face tattoos. I hear tell that there's some cosplay in the works, and to see a cool digital sculpt would be awesome. I'm gonna start really banging the drum hard about getting some Red Room cosplays out into the universe whenever cons start back up. I want to see my menacing dudes running around the convention. Imagine that clown with that upside down cross on the head, that Homie the Clown hair. Deadpool's better watch out. I don't have access to live pre-order numbers, but we're going for 2,000 now. Sky's the limit. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to bang this drum over the course of the next couple months. Once we hit 2, we're not even going for 3. We're going for 4. I think we can make that happen. Spread the word. One of the key points with the comic that I want to sort of beat home is that these are going to be self-contained comics. Every issue is going to be its own story, and it's going to be, this is Jim Shooter philosophy, man. Jim Shooter rules. Like, every issue will be a complete experience, so it could be somebody's first issue. Let me see here. I don't feel comfortable drawing this foot without pencil in it. It's going to be a weird looking foot anyhow. But that's okay. These are weird-ass creatures. Max, thanks for the super chat. What do you mean by Kirby's non-comic work? Oh, like animation? Doing some Jack Cool Plastic Man would be sick. I think we'll have to do that. These gnarly ass toes. Doing all different directions. I want to send these comics to J.R. Lansdale. He sort of inspired the comics. Massive Panda, thanks for the super chat. Here's where the energy transference, the energy sharing comes right now. How many of you guys out there are drawing as we speak? Who am I hanging out drawing with? So whenever I leave the chat, whenever the stream goes down, I'll check my socials and stuff, and people will share stories, and I'll see their drawing setups, and I know that they're there drawing while I'm sitting here filibustering. Word. Look at that. Look at that, man. Yes, yes, yes. You see, I feel it. The energy that just came into me. I feel it. You know, this is such a weird situation that we're all going through. I often would have, you know, 2, 3, 4 people at the studio hanging out with me at any given time. That's gone away. So it's super cool hanging out with you guys. Filled in some questions, hanging out, and just knowing that you're hanging out, drawn, makes me feel good, man. Makes me feel like, you know, less lonely or whatever. Look at those nasty ass toes. Don't tell my mom I said this, man, but my grandma had some toes like this. Alright, time to do some marker work. There's going to be this cool dream sequence that's happening here, and it's hard to tell right here, but what's happening is he's unzipping like a leather zip that you would see on like a motorcycle jacket. Then in the next panel, the zip goes up and you see it right there, and it's a clit, and when the zipper opens, it's like this vagina mouth thing. It's all wet, a lot of teeth. That's going to look cool in ink. All right, let's see. Fabrice, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. Yeah, how do you call that? A vagina dentata? This is issue 5, but we'll call it the 5th issue. You're gonna see a lack of numbers on the mags when they come out. You know, the first issue is the May issue, because once again I want to drive home that the comics are self-contained. I think that was one of the great mistakes that I made with Hip Hop Family Tree that I just kind of like will never do again, which is numbering, you know, having volume numbers. Diminishing returns happens and people feel obligated to get the first one when it's sort of built not to be necessary. Thanks for that super chat. K Artware, I'll call ya. Salo, 120 Days of Saddam. Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one for sure. That'll keep you uneasy. It's funny you mentioned Bernie Wrightson, because I actually have a Bernie Wrightson inspired story, Red Room story that I wanna do. When I told Jim about it, it stoked him out. So my friends are my barometer sometimes, you know, like when I sell them on an idea, it might be the way to go. Yeah, Serbian film for sure. That flick is insane. I wasn't sure if I like had something illegal when I saw that movie, man. Chick tract themed Red Room issue. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. I gotta come up with an 8-pager after this. Maybe that 8-pager can be chick tract inspired. Put some veins on this titty. I really love the feathering I'm able to get with these Copics. Never thought that would be a possibility. It's so funny trying to figure out the lighting on this stuff. Just total kayfabe. Oh yeah. It's gonna be like little geysers of blood. Like, just like popping a cherry tomato or something. Popping a couple cherry tomatoes. It's so stupid. What the hell kind of comic are you guys pre-ordering here? Do you realize how disappointed your mom and dads are going to be? Now, Red Room is going to be... It's got to be printed in color. It's going to have like a slight like off-white eggshell cream to the paper. I know it says full color on the thing, and I told them, like, you know, this is just going to confuse people. That said, this 5th issue, this top tier is going to be in full color. And I reserve the option to do full color issue, you know, full color as I need it. But those first 4 are going to be like, we'll just call it black and white to keep it simple. But it's printed in color so that I can have nuance, because I sort of hate, there are a few comics that can really do pristine black and white really well in terms of like art and presentation, and I am not one of them. You know, we're talking Jeff Smith, we're talking Charles Burns, Jaime Hernandez, and the rest of us need to soften that up a bit, soften that art up a bit, you know, get that eggshell cream colored paper, soften that black line up a bit. Here it is, man, the Rat Queen portion. All their hairs are tied into a gnarly knot. What started as 7 Rat Queens is now down to 3. I'm going to be reading the Nightbreed audiobook soon. I have that queued up. Big fan of the Clive Barker Books of Blood. Yeah, let me explain the Rat Queens real quick. Let me go get some visual aids. Give me 1 second. Can't take for granted that you were in the streams prior to this. So this is the opening sequence, you know, page 1. Because there's 3 things that happen on every page, like 3 stories. And in the middle will always be, for this issue, a chat room window. Because I wanted to have a full red room pop off in an issue. So this is how they started out. And then our guy wakes up the queens by chopping one of their ankles off. You see her get up real quick, man. She pulls that knot, wakes everybody else up. And then they're all up. Rude awakening. And they pounce. And they gouge. They're in a frenzy. A feed-in frenzy. Oh yeah. But now, like, got pounced so bad, she's just dead weight now. So our guy's gonna dispatch the dead weight. But when he dispatches the dead weight, look what happens. Another rat queen gets a little dismemberment. There goes the head of our dead rat queen just flying off. So now this rat queen is getting pummeled with busted ankle and just getting gouged, tore apart. You see the head flopping. It's gonna make for a good visual at the end, I tell you what. And then look, just poking and pulling and ripping and more eye gouging and twisting and contorting and craziness. These pages are sort of out of order. But more severed heads. We did that one. And you just see these heads just flopping and flipping. Yeah, this one comes before. Just flopping and flipping all over the place. Guys, there's a blood coming out of that shit. We drew this one on the chat recently. Was this one yesterday? I don't even remember. I think we did this one on the chat as well. So that's the rat queens. By all means, pick your poison. Order the comic right now. You know, issue 1. What you just saw is going to be issue 5. But it's available for pre-order right this minute. It'll be available through the comic shops as well. If you got a good relationship with your shop, by all means, get it through them. Or if you want it delivered to your doorstep, get it through Fanta. Well, if you get it through Fantagraphics, the pre-order isn't a cutoff. There's no cutoff date because then it just becomes an order. You dig? Couple gnarly teeth up top. Yeah, the comic's going to be monthly, but we will take a month off when the trade comes out. So there will always be something on the racks every month. But the monthly issues will take just a 4-week break. Four issues per trade, yep. And first issue comes out, I think it's May 5th. And like Kayfabe influences the work. You know, reading all these comics that we've been reading, it influences the work. And where my mind is right now when it comes to the design of the issues, 1963, you know, that's so at the front of my mind. So I keep thinking of like weird fake ads and things like that to put in there. I also am definitely going to be putting the blast out to have cosplayers rock the outfits, man, and design stuff. And I will love to publish those photos. I'm going to go back to this chat afterward and kind of record a bunch of these horror recommendations, so by all means don't stop. And when I start to see repeating names and titles, I'll sort of know that, you know, there's some stuff that I need to investigate ahead of others, perhaps, maybe. Just disrespecting this body. Dan, thanks a lot for pre-ordering Red Room. It's very cool. Like the sort of critical mass that has been showing up for it has been super fun to watch over this past weekend. Let me ask you guys: has anybody in the chat pre-ordered the Red Room comic tonight? I need to rewatch that original Wicker Man. It's lacerations all over these fucks. you can pre-order in Germany, but you're not going to be happy with the shipping charge. So once again, for the people who are across the pond, right now what I would suggest is check out the Patreon, read the comic, and when it's available in trade form, it should have wider distribution, be available in Germany, and you can make your decision on if you want to scoop that up. Center up that camera a bit. Alright. Time to draw this gnarly fuck. Some of them Harvey P-Car joints. I feel like Bernie Wrightson had those eyebrows too. Can't forget that we got a rat queen head here full of hair. Where's my trusty? There it is. Paul and Ryan got the doling $4.99 super chats. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for supporting the channel. Rest in peace, Richard Corben. Just seen his mention there. There are certain cartoonists that I think of every single day. Kirby is one of them. Richard Corben is one of them. So used to using the super fine marker for the hair when the character's at a further distance. I could use a thicker one when they're close up. And this one's trying to mitigate its hair getting pulled so much. But you gotta have some of it get pulled, you know. Just a mess. It looks kind of like a devil lock. Just a mess of hair. Just a tangle. What's Mr. Pickles? Kids book? There's going to be some duotone on here too. I always want to stress that because to me the pen and ink is just about halfway there. Yeah, man, Bites Dog was good. I got that recommendation some time ago and checked it out, dug it a lot. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that a French flick? Because at that period I saw a lot of stuff. Man, I saw La Jetée, like right before that. Dan, that's super cool to hear, man. I'm glad we hipped you to some stuff. And frankly, you guys have hipped us to some stuff. For sure. It's that symbiotic relationship that we have with you guys. And it's that thing, like, hey, let us show you some cool stuff, and then you guys show improve. It's this perpetual motion machine that we've developed here over the past 2 years. Pretty cool. It increases our education way further than it would have been beforehand. No, I'm not going to push shadow on there. Yeah, you know what? I was debating on doing. I just say the thing about late period Tezuka, and I was debating on doing like a Halloween video on the story Ayoko. I think Ayoka, something like that. But that's the darkest Tezuka story I've ever read. Very good. Young girl, part of a kind of aristocratic family, witnesses a murder that one of her family members conducts, and she's a witness to it. The family is like, fuck, like, we don't want the bad karma of killing this girl, but she can't, she's a witness, so they just keep her in the basement, and she grows up in that basement, so it follows like her young life. She becomes a woman down there. It's pretty hardcore. Yes, sir, the kayfabe effect is real. And let's apply it to the work of your kayfabe hosts, man. So pre-order that Red Room issue 1. Get it while it's hot. Make sure it's delivered, directly to your doorstep. It's going to let us know how many of those suckers to print. You're not going to want to be lost in the sauce whenever, it inevitably will go into reprints. And I am not above taking large amounts of money from Hollywood dudes, but they gotta romance me. Don't give me that basic Netflix deal that everybody gets. This is my baby. You gotta romance me, suckers. Out there in Glittertown. Comics first. That's the cooler medium. Yeah, Bernie writes and rest in peace. Nobody could do horror like him. I love seeing these horror recommendations in here. Can't wait to investigate some of this stuff. You guys have put me down some cool paths already. You know, I wouldn't have discovered Jack Ketchum's work. Or put it this way, I would have discovered it far later than I did when somebody in the chat, you know, maybe even this time, around this time last year, made the suggestion. Adam Neville. I don't think I recognize the name, so I'll check that out for sure. This is the part where I just add weepy wounds to our poor rat queens. I know that Capullo cut his teeth on those old Gore Shriek comics from Fantico. let's see, debating on we'll put our little speed lines, because the idea, like for the past couple pages, the ones that I've been inking on the channel are there's like a rabid frenzy happening at this moment. So the backgrounds are speed lines for the most part. But the room that this is all happening in is a pretty gnarly room. I threw the original art over, but like it's just very nondescript, 4 walls, like windows every like say 2.5 feet apart, 3 feet apart, where there are like webcams streaming the stuff for like the perfect angle. On the ceiling there are like these circle webcams. If you go on my Instagram, you could see examples of like the panels with the room where they're streaming from. But they're just like every 2 feet they're just those little ball webcams hanging from the ceiling, just to capture the gnarliest angles of brutality. Probably the nastiest thing to me in this whole drawing is these twisted up toes right there. Nah, no way to subscribe to all 12. Just scoop them up as is. The only time that like subscription stuff works is if like hundreds of thousands of people, you know, are on that subscriber list. And I do think the kayfabe breach is strong, but right at this moment, not 100K strong. 10K maybe. You know, it's only been available to get for 3 days, and we're pushing to hit 2,000 sooner than later. So that's nothing to sneeze at. All right. Yeah, the BTK is an inspiration for the guy from issue 1 for sure. That whole idea just freaks me out, man. So gross. Like that, you know, the closest people in your life have a dark secret that's that crazy. And every issue is self-contained, but you might see the same characters explored in other issues. And that's what we're dealing with right here. You know, the characters from issue 1 are going to show up here in issue 5. But it's going to be a complete piece. You're going to want to know what happens next to them. But you're going to be satisfied with what you get also. I just get restless. Switch it up a little bit, why not? And the way these are going to come out, it's going to be something for some delivery mechanism for all your interests. So I see some of the stuff in the chat about issues versus books, yada yada. You know, we're going to have trades, and ultimately we're going to have a big giant book, and they'll all have their virtues. Nah, no black light, red room. I'm not going the William Castle approach. No buzzers under your seat. Man, thanks for that batch of movie suggestions right there. If your local shop doesn't deal with Fanta, they don't like making money. Fanta's in previews. Fantagraphics is in previews. But all that said, just pre-order this stuff right now. Yeah, I'm sure I'm sure I would make bank with a crowdfunded book as well, but not interested in stuff in envelopes right now. The market hasn't been bad to me yet, so I'm gonna trust that it's gonna keep steady for me. And certainly the pre-orders that you guys showed up so far suggest that this is gonna be a well-circulated comic book. But you know, that's my interest. Like, I'll do that stuff at some point if I have to, but I'm not trying to make any tchotchkes. Like, trying to exist as a cartoonist, making cool comic books. Here's the Eddie P Kickstarter. Hit the Patreon right now if you want to read the comics right now. New strips come out every Tuesday. There's one geared up, ready to go tomorrow. You know, pre-order the issues. This issue is double sized, so it's going to be a couple bucks more than the others. But I think they're going to be whatever the standard price of a comic is right now. I don't even know what that is. You know, the trade paperbacks will be 16, 17 bucks a piece. And not sure what the big book will be. But that's the tiers of the Eddie P Kickstarter. Buy some comics. No swag, no tchotchkes. Be happy to sign this stuff for you if we connect at a comic convention. Cheers, Yeti. Have a good night. Red Room's going to be a standard size comic, something that you could fit in your bags and boards, put in your long box. I like that format. And it's so weird. You know, the comic is so weird that that's like not another battle I'm interested in fighting. You know, the format wars with complacent retailers. How am I supposed to sell this thing? It doesn't fit in the long box. There's gonna have to be some spatter on this. I might do that off camera though. One of the things that's been real interesting the past couple of weeks, and it's, you know, we took it for granted. We just assumed that everybody knew about 1963 comics, and every week it's so fun hearing from people who never heard of it but see the coverage and are super stoked to scoop up, you know, the corresponding issues that we're talking about. And I say we take it for granted just because we do know that there are so many copies of them out there. You know, I have several sets that I just absorbed through various collections I picked up, or, you know, the OGs that I bought myself. It has such a kind of legendary story behind it, but super cool to turn some people onto that. Yeah, Robert put in that work, man, and hip everybody to Red Room while working at the shop. Once again, this is the part that I would have my mangaka assistant do if we were working in that system. One of the things I'm listening to audiobook wise whenever the camera's turned off is the American Psycho audiobook. And one of the kind of reasons for that is because you're going to see like the chat room windows of the people who are watching this Red Room stuff. And in my mind, I see them as like bougie, yuppie type rich people. You know, they're pledging Bitcoin, and sometimes it's not even a percentage of a Bitcoin, it's, you know, a Bitcoin. So my thoughts are like the people who could get into these like very exclusive Red Room rooms are like one percenters. You know, the rich person who has everything, maybe they want to have agency over a human life and also get some of their psychopathic fantasies performed in front of them, chicken hawk style. You know, they're afraid to do it themselves, as they should be. I mean, it's, you know, very bad stuff, but it's no better paying for the webcam version of that. And those are the themes, man. That's the stuff that we're playing around with. story-wise. Now's the part where it's like, where does the body end and the speed lines begin? Boom, speed lines go in here. And then speed lines go in here. And then I'm going to put them here, even though they may not be seen. But that's a space where there's no skin or anything. Yeah, we're looking into that Canadian shipping. I brought it up to them, and they say it sounded weird too. So hopefully there will be some news on that. But in the meantime, hit the Patreon, check that out, and supply me any feedback, any thoughts that you might have on those issues, because I have 7 more issues to do after this one, and if I get some good food for thought, I'm going to be able to make adjustments moving forward in my process. What a crazy comic. And absolutely hit your local comic shop up overseas. If your shop gets American comic books, you're going to be able to order this. But you can't take it for granted. You can't take for granted that they would just automatically will order the thing. My comics are notoriously underordered when it comes to demand. They always go into reprints. It always makes me nuts too, because I'm just like, couldn't print up just, another couple thousand? But they have their system, And doing the pre-order is kind of like letting them know some idea of like what the demand really is. We're showing them that kayfabe kind of means business. Alright, look at that ridiculous image. page 16 of issue 5. A little more noodling to do. Red Room takes place in nondescript locations. Fantagraphics does not do monthly comics. They're just kind of getting back into the periodical format with Red Room in some ways. There's a good one that Gilbert Hernandez did a while back called Blubber that you should check out. But they don't really mess with that format very much. Make this comics a success, help create this like new model, and I bet you there will be more independent monthlies of this kind of thing. You know, not this kind of thing specifically, but like, you know, Fantagraphics type comics and strips. The issue is going to be pretty standard after the first issue. So it's like 22 pages of comics for the most part, but I'm going to allow myself up to 32 pages depending on the story. But so far, like issue 2, 3, 4, 22 pages of comics a piece, and then there will be like some little extra stuff here and there. Look at that ridiculous stuff. Carnes, what's up, man? Gray Pen, you talk about these ones. They're Copics. Yeah, the cool thing about the Copics is they seem to last a little bit longer. Like, I got a lot of mileage out of this 3. They go on darker. You know, the ink is blacker even when you erase. The price is comparable. I don't think it's that different. Fuckator in the chat, he does some really awesome comics. Search Fuckator on Facebook, and I was marveling recently at his fingernail drawing ability with some of these zombie characters. I was making notes. Anyhow, I like to put about 2 hours into it, chat it at the very least. Got this panel pretty much done. There's going to be a little splatter here and there with these like little eye socket joints and the mouth up there. But it's close. last time. There's that link for the pre-order. We're racing to try to get 2,000 pre-orders for Red Room before it sees the light of day. I think we'll be able to hit that number. We got some good videos coming to you every single day. Good stuff tomorrow. I think we have maybe 10 videos in the hopper right this very minute, and all of them are bangers. You know, all of them are good. Whether or not you guys click on them, you know, that's up to you. I was surprised that our Far Side video didn't do much bigger. You know, that was a classic cartoon. Anyhow, there's your gore for the day. I think I'm gonna split. It's dinner time at the Kayfabe house. Thanks for all the pre-orders. Talking to the publishers was very fun when they were like, what the heck? Where did all these orders come from? Came from the Cartoonist Kayfabe viewers, and I'm very appreciative. So you guys have a good night. Don't catch COVID. Do the right stuff. And stay good. Stay safe. Cheers.